Welcome back to Overlord Anime Review, episode number 16. This will be the 48th episode of Overlord, which is known as Countdown to Extinction. And this adapts some pages from the book pages, finishes at page 117, like it caps off that one, and basically goes fully from 118 and stops about, at some point at page, let's see. It stops pretty much toward the very end of page 164. This episode has debut of, oh my gosh, like about 5 new characters. Yes, 5. One, of course, I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think the reason why it made debut here as sort of an apology for not including her in season 1. Who is it? Negro. Albedo's older sister. Yes, something the anime has almost completely forgotten about. Albedo's sisters. And here, we finally see her debut. Yes, and basically her debut is not a flashback. Because it deals with Putamachino, Jeremiah Sarah's character, she's here too. Basically, Ainz goes to the 5th floor of Nazarick, the Frost prison, which on the exterior looks like a mansion. Yeah, I have no idea why the world is designed this way, but it is. And apparently the warden of the place is Sebas. I'm like, that's interesting. So, why is he there? Just as Negro, where you see her and she's carrying scissors are bloody, and apparently she's cut off her own face. Why in the world did she cut off her own face? I have no idea. Now, why is she in the Frost prison, you might ask? Because events that was cut from the finale of season 2. Yes, basically it's basically a plot point they cut. They could have basically done this in a side OVA, but nope, they never did. Basically, what happened though is that she and Panamachio, the dog maid, the one who in the English does, voiced by Jim Marceri, decided there was these group of people that Demiurge kidnapped. And basically, Ainz didn't want to deal with them, so he had all of them killed. But here's the thing. These two were worried about the children, which of course make up here too. And they saved the children. And they got punished for it. Now, also, it was revealed that Albedo was for suspending them and putting them in prison. She was actually for it. Yeah, basically punishing her own sister. Yes, her own sister. I have heard this girl is basically described as the show's version of the Ring girl from, Ringu. It's described as that, and I can kind of buy it based on her appearance. Apparently, her skin is very pale. I mean, what I saw of her, because she's cut off her face, don't know what her face looks like, but we see she has chalk white skin. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Undead Brides a bit, basically, based on appearance. And they're here in this cold prison. Now I'm thinking, this woman basically is Albedo's sister. And here's the thing. Albedo's a succubus, and yet her sister is basically a different type of person altogether. Where she's kind of cuckoo. But she basically is very reasonable. Her thing is about protecting children. And of course the whole thing there, Ainz is hesitant, but they agreed to have basically some survivors. And that's just basically a side thing. I'm glad they finally included her. Though I'm thinking, Madhouse, why the heck did you not adapt this character sooner? Why did you wait until season 4 to do this? Seriously, Madhouse. An interesting character like Albedo's older sister, which I have heard that her sister, Albedo herself, and her two sisters are named for like the chemistry. Of course, Albedo is the middle sister. And of course, I think that maybe she'd buy Albedo, but nope. She was punched anyway, so there's that. So, we do the episode picks up exactly where the last episode left off, where we have the king of the Razor Kingdom, where he offers his head in place along with, Philip. And Albedo's like, yeah, that'd be good. But we're going to declare war anyways. And They actually cut out what happens next, basically about Council of War, preparing for war. And then we cut to. There's also mentioning here about Rhaenyra's orphanage. They cut that out here for some reason. They do cut straight to Brain. Yes, making his first appearance in episode 2. Yes. I mean, it only had been like. Let's see, second episode season, that was episode 40. It was only been 7 episodes since his last appearance. And he still has Gandalf's sword. And apparently it's mentioned he has a kid. Something I don't remember them ever bringing up before. Apparently he's got a kid with somebody. And he was offered to basically have, it was requested of him if his kid could travel with him while they escaped the city. And he was personally very happy with that. And it seems though he's kind of close with the female instructor there. But then, oh yeah, he's got a kid. I'm like, okay. Now, with the exception of flashback, all this is from the book. The flashback, I think, was something that probably was cut previously. I think this was a scene that maybe was from an earlier book. I don't know which book it was. Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to this episode. I know it comes from book 14, but I think it also may have adapted a little from an earlier book. I honestly don't have any idea. So, yes, then pretty much like, well, actually it's been like about 7 episodes. So, pretty much like Raph, the whole brain ooglass thing. Then of course they jump ahead 1 month later, which that deals with the flashback. We see her there, and she doesn't really say anything in the scene, which is kind of strange. And yet in the flashback, she got plenty of dialogue. I'm sure Jamie probably was very happy with the fact her character actually has to get some dialogue. Oh, by the way, she still does a thing where she ends every sentence with a wolf. Because she's a dog maid. Of course she basically woofs. And they all discuss various strategies. One of the strategies is basically attacking on nearby, basically a fishing village. Which, of course, they do in the very episode. It's very interesting to have all the floor guardians here. Well, minus Victim and Giganta. Basically all but 2, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, the other 2, I kind of get the reason why they decided not to include the conversation. Victim himself is not that big of a character in the series. So, it's fine not to include him here. He probably has got his own thing to do on his own floor. So, then of course they launch a full-scale attack on this I think it's Inrenda, I think it's called, the name of the village. And then we cut to seeing the 4 anime adventures. Which basically, this is their anime debut as well. Now, the leader has been making appearances, made her first appearance technically in the opening title sequence. Now, the episode, they don't name her, but I'll tell you her name because the anime itself didn't bother to name her. Her name is Senkma and Elamedo. Yes, her and Lynette, she's also one of these people. We also have debut of Count Nagura. Yeah, he's basically kind of looks like, to be a noble, he basically, and Natara, I think that's even the town. He kind of looks like a pirate, the way he's dressed. Yes, so a lot of the scene here is basically verbatim from the book, except they cut the bit out. Now, basically, he talks basically off her reward, a magical item. Well, she requested. He's like, oh, I have the 5 holy swords. In exchange, if you want that, I'll give you my son as a concubine. I'll have you become my son concubine. And of course, they mention all the other ones. And of course, apparently, he decided to offer his 3rd son as basically be the concubine for that one. And he's only 12. And she's like around the same age as Rhaenyra. I'm not really sure why. In the book, it's like, oh, she's more drooling at the fact she wants to get her hands on a sword than actually get the kid's son. Yep, and then right afterwards, then they start the actual battle itself, where they basically blast all the undead soldiers with fireballs, and then we have 2 undead soldiers here. One who's got a sword and giant shield. The other one is dual-bladed. We have the one with the shield run up to the gate, while the one with the sword is not run up just yet. So then we have Surga and Lieutenant and the other 2 go down below, and of course they fire lightning at the damn thing. And it's actually effective. Apparently, fireballs do anything against this Death Knight, but lightning does. And of course, we have Sigurd show off move with the sword, slice up the shield itself. All hope is lost until we hear a freaking gunshot go off. You're thinking, a gunshot in Overlord? Well, technically, there is a character in the series who can use that. It's Delta. Yeah, the one who's a robot. But this is not like a little mini machine gun. This is a freaking turret gun held by a guy basically who's in armor, who looks like someone from Gundam. No, seriously, that's what the guy looks like. Yes, who is this guy? This is Asa Adoruro. This actually is his anime debut. Yep, this very episode. He was first mentioned back in book 5. Interesting. So, his equipment is simply the turn gun, obviously, which is interesting to say the least. We have the head machine gun, which is interesting. I'm sure, like, how the heck he get hands on this damn thing? And of course, his arm reinforcement, which appearance-wise, it looks like something they said was okay. So apparently, it's something also for years or so as well. Interesting. I'm definitely looking for, now. I don't now. Here's the thing: it was first mentioned before. But Mayfield's appearance here is great, and of course, he proceeds to use his gun to basically destroy 2 Death Knights, and then we cut to the credits. We then see then we apparently cut to back to Nazarick. Apparently, we see Ian says, "Just as I planned." And all questions like, really? Yes, really. And that's the episode for you. Oh, in case you're curious, how much of the book did this episode cover? It covered. Now, by the way, this is episode 9. And this is only the second episode of the cover book 14. And this episode covered this much of the book. I gotta say, it's actually a bit less than last episode. Well, they covered a lot in the first episode. Here, it's actually much more smaller for that one. Yep. So yeah, great episode. Can't wait for next week's episode, which is going to continue this one. Okay, so that's episode review. I might just go ahead as soon as I get this review up. I'm going to go ahead and do Harem Alive in our world. Okay, next video. Bye.